I've just sort of recently come to understand that it was a cult, actually, just in the last probably 2 years. It met 32 out of 36 cult criteria.
Did you Google, am I in a cult? Or how did you get hold of that particular questionnaire? Because that would be useful for people
Yep.
working out. Because there's not just religious
Yeah.
cults out there, there's just pyramid schemes, and all of these things all
Yeah.
fall under the same definition.
Absolutely. Yep. Am I in a cult or cult characteristics? You'll
Mm,
find lots of little checklists to go through.
mm,
Yeah, it's fun.
yeah.
But growing up, we had to wear skirts all the time. I wasn't even allowed to have pajama pants. And, our skirts had to like be below our knees when we sat down, and we couldn't show our shoulders. And there's just a lot of focus on clothes and what that meant to other people, and what modesty meant, and how if you wear the wrong thing, then somebody could get turned on by you, kind of no matter what age you are.
Mm.
My lullabies were the hymns. My parents didn't really believe in other music. We weren't allowed to listen to music. We didn't have a TV. We weren't allowed to dance. We weren't really allowed to do sports too much, because it might impact how often we could go to church. And it was just very obvious that the church and their belief in God and what that meant came first, and then family came second.
At what age do you remember having that explained to you, that your bare skin could have an effect on someone else, and basically that's your fault? Then do you remember around about what age that message was delivered, and whether or not you absorbed what that meant?
Always.
Yeah.
I don't remember ever not knowing that.
Mm.
It was all consuming. What I was wearing, was it too tight? Was it too low? Was it too high? Was it, could I possibly attract somebody in this outfit? And if I could, I shouldn't wear it. And then I would just masturbate and feel extremely guilty, like just crushing guilt, like every single time. And it was like every New Year's, it was like, I'm never going to masturbate again. I promise I'm going to pray so hard, and I'm never going to masturbate again.
Mm.
Anytime we would move, it would be like, in this house, I'm not going to masturbate. Or like anytime anything happened, it was like, okay, fresh start. And so it was just continual masturbation, extreme guilt. And then when I
which
started
fuels the
being,
masturbation. The guilt, it's like any kind of habit that you've formed.
yeah,
The thing is still, it's my thing, right? It's my thing, and that makes it exciting. I'm doing something I shouldn't be doing.
yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah,
increases the
that too,
pleasure.
for
Mm.
sure. Yeah,
Mm.
can. Yeah. And sex kind of became my way of rebelling. I don't know, looking back, it was actually a really beautiful thing. Like, I feel like my sexuality really, in the end, showed me the way out of the cult.
We're told to suppress everything about ourselves as children, and
Yeah.
everything that we're told is totally counterintuitive to being human. As you get older and more rebellious, yeah, I'm going to hell. Who's with me? Yes. You think that looks like a party. Let's do that. It's very common for not just women, but for people to inadvertently start crying after sex. I have actually
Yeah.
cried after masturbating. There was a time there where I was like, for about 6 months, like every time I had an orgasm, didn't matter how it was, I would cry. And it was menopause and all sorts of stuff.
Wow.
It's our hormones and
Wow.
stuff. I'd feel this serotonin drop or whatever. I literally would feel after the orgasm a plummeting of emotional mood, and sadness overwhelm me, and thinking, that's loneliness, that's what we're told, that's what I'm feeling. And I thought, no, it's just hormones, it's chemicals, it's a physical release
Yeah.
of possibly past grief. I'm possibly still processing that, this, that, the other thing, and it's coming up when I'm having an orgasm or whatever. But we don't treat ourselves gently enough around what orgasm can bring up in us. And that's, for me, why I need safer people to have sex with, because I'm like, not only let's enjoy it, but let's
Right.
Let's express our humanity, and let's go crazy and make noise. Nothing was instilled in me as a young person that my future held anything but motherhood and wifehood and househood, and family. So to see these things fall away as I got older was very disorienting, disillusioning, and stuff, because I'm like,
Yeah.
now what? Luckily for me, I discovered that I do have a creative streak and that I am interested in doing things that fulfill me in that way. And they are as fulfilling as everything else has been in my life: relationships, motherhood, sex, all that sort of stuff. It's all a part of the same spectrum, that just eating life, just being who you are and expressing who you are and being who you are in life and feeling authentic about it and
Did
all
you
that sort of
say
stuff.
eating life?
Yeah, eating life. I'd love to lay claim to that
I
as a
love
phrase,
that.
but a friend of mine, I think it was her email address, do you eat life at hotmail.com. So she's a wonderful
Today I
thinker.
have my life.
So you didn't have to think about who you were while you were in the cult, but you still felt like you had certain things sorted in a row, so you weren't worried about anything per se. But then you discover you have to sort of, oh, I'm a
Oh,
person. Who am I actually now? I didn't know who I was after my first marriage, and I've been putting all that together incrementally over the years. And
I love what I heard once, that I don't know is the most creative place to be.
yeah.
It's it's a really scary and uncertain and uncomfortable place to be. We
Mm,
don't usually really like it, but when you're in that place of, God, I don't even know what to believe anymore. I don't know who I am. I don't know. Then it's like, well, who do you want to be?
mm,
What do you want for your life? What do you
mm,
want the meaning of your life to be? And then you get to choose, which is terrifying, but it's also powerful and beautiful
mm.
that you then get to decide.